This video is a chemical reaction overview. Does the term chemical reaction bring to mind an image like this one? In the picture, a chemist is mixing chemicals in a lab. Many chemical reactions take place in labs. However, most chemical reactions do not. So where do they occur? They happen in the world around you. They even happen inside your own body. In fact, you are only alive because of the many chemical reactions that constantly take place in your cells. So, what is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is a process in which some substances change into different substances. Substances that start a chemical reaction are called reactants. Substances that are produced in the reaction are called products. Reactants and products can be elements or compounds. Chemical reactions are represented by a chemical equation like this one, in which the reactants on the left are connected by an arrow to the products on the right. The arrow in the formula means yield, or when you read the formula, you read the symbols as their compounds, and then when you get to the arrow, you just say the word yield, or yields. Chemical reactions may occur quickly or slowly. Look at the two pictures in the figure. Both represent chemical reactions. In the picture on the left, a reaction inside a fire extinguisher causes foam to shoot out of the fire extinguisher. This reaction occurs almost instantly. In the picture on the right, a reaction causes the iron tool to turn to rust. This reaction occurs very slowly. In fact, it may take many years for all of the iron in the tool to return to rust. Question: what happens during a chemical reaction? Where do the reactants go, and where did the products come from? The answer: during a chemical reaction, chemical changes take place. Some chemical bonds break and new chemical bonds form. Same atoms, new bonds. The reactants and products in a chemical reaction contain the same atoms, but they are rearranged during the reaction. As a result, the atoms are in different combinations in the products than they were in the reactants. This happens because chemical bonds break in the reactants and new chemical bonds form in the products. Consider the chemical reaction in which water forms from oxygen and hydrogen gases. Bonds break in the molecules of hydrogen and oxygen, and then new bonds form in the molecules of water. In both reactants and products, there are 4 hydrogen atoms and 2 oxygen atoms, but the atoms are combined differently in water. You could see another example of this at this website. This is the reaction of hydrogen and oxygen to form water. So now let's look at types of chemical reactions. The chemical reaction in this figure, in which water forms from hydrogen and oxygen, is an example of a synthesis reaction. In this type of reaction, 2 or more reactants combine to synthesize a single product. There are several other types of chemical reactions, including decomposition, replacement, and combustion reactions. The table compares these 4 types of chemical reactions. This table shows you the different types of reactions, the general equations for each one of those reactions, as well as examples of each of those types of reactions. Question: the burning of wood is a chemical reaction, but which type of chemical reaction is it? The answer, well, the burning of wood, or the burning of anything, is a combustion reaction. The combustion example in the table again was methane gas. So if you have energy in, you have energy out. All chemical reactions involve energy. Energy is used to break the bonds in reactants, and energy is released when new bonds form in products. In terms of energy, there are two types of chemical reactions: endothermic reactions and exothermic reactions. In exothermic reactions, more energy is released when the bonds form in products than is used to break the bonds in the reactants. These reactions release energy into the environment, often in the form of heat or light. In endothermic reactions, more energy is used to break the bonds in the reactants than is released when the bonds form in the products. These reactions absorb energy from the environment. Question: when it comes to energy, which type of reaction is the burning of wood? Is it endothermic or exothermic? And how can you tell? Answer: the burning of wood is definitely an exothermic reaction. You can tell because it gives off both heat and light when it burns. Summarization time. A chemical reaction is the process in which some substances, called reactants, change into different substances, called products. During the reaction, chemical bonds break in the reactants and new chemical bonds form in the products. Types of chemical reactions include synthesis, decomposition, replacement, and combustion reactions. All chemical reactions involve energy. Exothermic reactions release more energy than they use. Endothermic reactions use more energy than they release.